Hello GeoFacts friends, welcome back yet again. Today I've got the Beta Aivin BM-6 guitar amplifier. It's a pretty uninspiring name just calling it guitar amplifier because it does have a few special features. It's got a chorus and delay effect, a quite comprehensive equalizer as well with mid-frequency, and that's a good feature which I'm looking forward to trying out. There are a couple of other features on the back as well, but let's get into the sound demo first of all. This is with all controls on 12 o'clock. And the first thing you notice is that with the volume control not even at halfway, we get quite a lot of volume out of that, and it's a little bit of an overdriven sound. Certainly not a bad sound though, it's quite true to the instrument. And I'm playing a Fender Jaguar. Let's try adding some of the delay effect. Apart from the mix level, the delay is not editable in any way, but it is set to a nice set of parameters. No tap tempo or anything like that, but it's pretty usable. Let's try the chorus sound. Again, chorus not editable, you can only control the amount of mix, but it is a nice lush chorus sound. And of course, you can run them both together. So that's the effects section. Very basic, but really usable. I quite like it. I'm just going to switch them off again for the moment so that we can look now at the equalization controls. So obviously we've got bass at the beginning. That is very good bass response. We've got about a 6-inch speaker in there, I think, and that's really responding to the bass end. Okay. That's with all other controls in the middle. I like the fact that the mid-frequency can be altered as well. So here's our mid-level, and here's our mid-frequency. So let's put that at about 3 o'clock and see how that affects things in the middle. All other controls neutral. Okay, so because that mid-frequency is set quite high, it's kind of pushing things towards the treble end. If it's set in the middle, we still get a slight bump and a slight scoop in the middle as well. But with frequency in the middle and the boost on about 3 o'clock, we get a nice sort of British sound, which is fairly typical of that equalization shape. Let's go back to the middle for the middle and raise the treble control and see how that responds. Oh, again, a very tough response. So bass and treble controls really have a broad bandwidth. So you can take it really quite twangy there. So if we were to boost the bass a little bit, maybe lower the mid-frequency a bit, but boost its volume, and give it a bit more treble, we should find the sound that I usually go for. And that's pretty much nailed it the first time for me. Maybe a little on the trebly side because that treble is so responsive. And like I said before, it is coming through a little bit overdriven even though we're on the input channel. But that's not such a bad thing, certainly not in my opinion, and it's not really breaking up. But again, let's return to the central position for all equalization controls and switch over to the Overdrive channel. Volume's at 0, there's a gain, and our level control. I think most of us would agree that's not the best distortion you're ever likely to hear, but it's perfectly adequate for a little practice amp of this kind. What I'll do now is put the gain right down and raise the level, and we'll try to give it a kind of a sub-distorted crunch tone. Sounds pretty good. Yep, I think that's a perfectly acceptable overdrive. I'd probably just reduce the gain even more slightly, and let's try adding a little bit of delay. Okay, and for me that's really starting to work. I probably wouldn't use the chorus, but for the sake of demonstration I'll just add it in. It's a little thick for my liking, but that's not a bad chorus sound, and I think a lot of players would enjoy that. The delay's right up now, and the chorus is quite low. Okay, and again, for the sake of demonstrating, I'll pull back on the level a little bit and we'll max out both of these effects just to see what it's capable of. Alright, and the chorus there is pushing it into kind of tremolo territory. Let's try that on the clean channel. Well, as clean as it gets anyway. And there you go, you've got a nice vibrating effect there when you push the chorus to maximum. So I'm going to turn that off now. Maybe leave a little bit of delay. Back to the overdrive channel. Give it a little bit more. And we'll just make some equalization changes before moving on to the other features of the amp. More bass. And more middle. I think that equalizer really brings out the quality of the distortion actually. As you may remember, a moment ago when I had the distortion switched on, all the EQ controls were on the middle, so that might have been why it was a little bit dull. I deliberately picked a bad note there because I wanted to see if it would give that kind of fuzzy oscillating resonance like a fuzz pedal. Well, it doesn't, but it does sound really good. I'd be inclined to leave treble where it is, but again, for the sake of demo, I'm going to put it up to 3 o'clock. Now on full. Ooh, that is a bit nasty. I like this mid-frequency control, it really gives a lot of character. Let's go for a scoop sort of feel now. So I'm going to raise the treble, cut both middle controls. That's not usually an EQ form that I really like, but it comes through well on this amp. Maybe the small speaker is giving it a little bit more definition. But of course you can greatly overthink these kind of things. Just set the controls where you like them. It is a nice simple system, there's no presets, no amp modeling or anything like that. It's just a whole bunch of very useful controls, set them where you need to have them, and just get going with your playing. And having reviewed a lot of amps on YouTube, frankly I find that a bit refreshing. Now that we've had a good listen, let's have a look around the back at the additional features of this amp. Okay, before moving on to the features of the back panel, we'll just take a look at the top just so we can get a closer look at that control panel. Equalization there, 2 channels, chorus and delay, obviously the input right there. On the back you'll see that we've got a charge light here. That glows when it's supposedly low on battery. So in theory this battery should be fine, but I am finding that when I unplug it, I've got no sound whatsoever. And it's not one of those things where you have to plug in the guitar lead before it starts to work. This one's actually got a faulty battery, so I can't demonstrate that unfortunately. However, there are a good range of sockets on the back here. We've got a headphone socket, MP3 stereo in so you can play along to a backing track, microphone in so if you want to do a bit of singing as well with your playing, the option's right there, and your microphone's separate volume control. So, the verdict. Well, maybe I would have liked to have seen a couple of amp models and perhaps the option to save a couple of presets, but really I can greatly forgive the Beta Aivin BM-6 for that because it's just so neat, so portable. I think this would do the job for people on the road. Just check it when you purchase and make sure that battery's working. So I hope that demo was informative and useful to you guys. Thank you for watching Gear Facts. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Please like, comment or subscribe. That's the Beta Aivin BM-6.